So with one round in the books, it's two drivers up at the very, very top, and they are going to be the symphony leaders in terms of where this tune will choose to go. This second round of the championship could very much be the same, could be incredibly different. I think these drivers need to know and understand how they build up their championship effort, because already after just two rounds, it would be the third of the championship that they will have constructed. This is the multinational GT3 Esports Championship for 2022, fueled by Enemed, racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione. And we are here with some incredible action here, ladies and gentlemen. And that comes to you courtesy of ESTV, the Esports Television Network, TVM Sport, Motorsport.tv, as well as on YouTube, as well as on Facebook, as well through our various partners here today. But there is a wonderful sense of the challenge that is in front of them, because this second round of the championship, it heads to the Nurburgring. It heads to the Endurance Championship, the World Endurance Championship style layout, and it is going to be a tricky challenge today. It is going to be less likely that you are going to be seeing overtakes. It is going to be more of a technical prowess and technical challenge around a track which, for all intents and purposes, has been one of the premier circuits in the world, as well as on the European continent. Of course, the run through the Mercedes-Benz Arena, its most recent iteration in 2003, a track which, for large intents and purposes, has remained unchanged for nearly 2 decades, which is very weird to say by concept, but the layout of the track is one which has fans and drivers very excited on the way that it is supposed to be run, and is one which drivers will know how to attack and have known how to attack for a long time now at this point. The Yokohama S and Mercedes-Benz Arena, or the AMG Arena as it now is, over through Goodyear, or the Goodyear Straight as it is, into the left and the right, down the hill to the Mullenbacher Schleife, and around the hairpin, the carousel-esque inspired corner of the Goodyear Kercher, over then through the Michael Schumacher S, up the hill towards Ravenel and Bilstein corners, and then up through Ad Van Bogen to the Vidal chicane and the Hyundai N-curve, which ends the lap, the 120-degree right-hand bend, which often leads drivers to trying too hard to attack from moment to moment. I'm Jake Sperry here, giving you all of the action then here today. No Nico Hillebrand along with me. He's dealing with a bout of the... How would I word this in a way? The general thing we've all talked about, but we all do not want. That's what he's got at the moment. So at this point in time, let's have a look at our top two drivers, because those top two drivers of Dean Vella and Sheldon Muscat last time out, it really was a case of two trying to push to their absolute limits. In qualifying, it was a big difference, about 0.7 of a second between the two. But the differences really showed. Race one, Dean Vella was absolutely perfect. Sheldon Muscat was just a smidgen behind. You can see from the consistency ratings just how strong drivers have to be. And really, it was about improvement. Yes, on one lap pace, Dean Vella was quicker. But when Sheldon Muscat took the lead, he very much found himself with an element of consistency, which meant he was unrivaled and unmatched over the course of his action. But crucially, driver of the day did go to Dean Vella along with the pole position. So the 2 extra bonus points in Dean Vella's back pocket means a 2-point championship lead today, moving here into the Nurburgring, the second round of the championship. In terms of how the season will construct itself then afterwards, it will be August 12th when we'll be next back after rounds of racing here today, as we take a look at the drivers then getting their practices all sorted around this very important Nürburgring race from the World Pro Racing Arena in Malta. And of course, round 3 will be Spa-Francorchamps. Round 4, Brands Hatch, Paul Ricard will be round 5 on the 9th of September, and the championship ending on the 14th on the Wednesday at Mount Panorama Bathurst, as everyone looks to try and get themselves all of the practice and motion in play to get themselves into position. Of course, they are all running exactly identical rigs, exactly identical specification as they're out there on circuit. So when it comes to how everyone looks to try and understand what advantage they have, their advantage is, well, they go over to the World Pro Racing Arena, they spend more time in the sim rig, they get some more understanding of what they need to be doing and to adjust to the tools of the trade that they have available to them, and that might give them a small advantage in the long run. But at least for this championship, they know that these first 2 rounds are the important ones, and they will have that 1 week's break in the middle from round 2 to round 3 to give them the opportunity to just sit back a little bit and say, okay, this is how we take the first third of the championship. We learn, we understand, and we come in with a game plan for round 3, for round 4, for round 5, and for round 6. So they do have those opportunities available. Passing and overtaking opportunities are going to be a critical point of today's racing in terms of where do you find a pass. And turn 1 down at Yokohama probably is going to be the main place we're going to be seeing overtakes happening today. And crucially, keep an eye on that Vidal chicane, because by my understanding, we'll be running the shallower chicane instead of the very, very tight and angular final chicane, which is used more in Formula-style racing. With a more open chicane, it becomes a little bit more of a more difficult opportunity to try and find the right results when it comes to an overtake. But if you can get that run through the chicane, carry the momentum, it does lead to that Hyundai N-curve. It does lead over towards turn number 1 and the Yokohama S, and it does give those opportunities to say, you know what, you can make a pass, but it is going to be difficult, and especially down at the bottom of the hill, that is where you're going to have to start trying to build up a lap time, going from the beautiful Dunlop curve, or the Goodyear curve as it is now, all the way up through the left and right of the Schumacher S, through Ravenel and Bilstein. It's all about momentum, and if you can find that momentum, you can find that moment, you can find that opportunity to find that one place, you might as well be running with a big smile. It's not just top 2 in the championship, though, who have themselves with everything to play for. Much more as well, I think it is worth talking about here today, that 3rd, 4th, 5th in the championship all has an all-important place to play in terms of what is going on and about. And if they can find themselves with pretty much everything they want and a bit more, they know that this could be a series for them. Dylan De Bono currently 3rd in the championship, 30 points. Kirsten Abeja back in 4th on 20, and Andrea Rizzo on 17. So they all have chances to find points, but already, like Andrea Rizzo, for example, is 30 points behind and is going to need some bad days ahead for Dean Vella and Sheldon Muscat in order to move up through on the scores. So they do have that they'll be trying to keep in mind. And I think that it will be a important day for those drivers, that they find those results. It's a championship point system, 25 points for a win, 20 points for 2nd, 15 points for 3rd, 10 points for 4th, and then 1 point down afterwards. That really does prioritize finishing in that top 3. And if you do not manage that, you are going to be dropping points, and you are going to be dropping those points really, really quickly here in a championship where effectively position number 1 is the top prize. Everyone is fighting for it, and that top prize is to represent the nation of Malta in the FIA Motorsport Games later on this year. And that is going to be an incredible opportunity for drivers to try and push themselves up to that pinnacle and to represent their nation. To some respects, they are all representing their nation right now already, and they're giving each other every single, I would say, motivation to go forward and to find as much pace, as much promise as possible. And so to find the very top echelon of driver, to find the quickest, the most consistent over the course of a season, this is going to be the place where they want to challenge themselves. And we have seen that time and again. How do you challenge yourself over the course of a racing season? And this is where they're going to learn and understand. Of course, a lot of these drivers have been running around in very similar leagues, very similar races, all throughout the sphere of what they've been doing. and it has given them the opportunity to understand, at least on a surface level, what every driver is capable of. Everyone drives in the same car out there, the Audi R8 LMS Evo 2 out there, the brand new Audi R8 that is brought into Assetto Corsa Competizione, and essentially as a car is that upgraded package, or that second upgraded package, really, from the Audi R8. Of course, the Audi R8 LMS originally getting its start in the late 2000s, early 2010s, if memory serves me correct. Moving forward then into the mid-2010s with the Evo, and now, of course, here in the 2020s, the Evo 2, giving another update on a relevant car for an Audi R8, which, as a road car, gave itself an entire lease of life, and really, I think, goes as one of the most underrated supercar-style elements out there in terms of just what it did and how important it was for the scene, and effectively made supercars cool and commercial at that point in time. So there is certainly that to go through. We are going to run ourselves then in the next couple of moments down to the World Pro Racing Arena and get a little look at our drivers for today and the work that they will have to do and the challenges they have going forward just before qualifying will be getting itself underway. And so with that, in essence, we're going to get this understanding now of where every driver is capable of finding themselves and the order that they find themselves in, and maybe a little bit of insight into what their thinking is moving forward into round 2 of the championship races, numbers 3 and 4. So we're going to have that opportunity to jump down in the next few moments, make sure that this is all going to be going through. And in fact, we can jump down right now. Let's start with the championship leader moving forward, number 54, Dean Vella, and his work right now is to maintain a margin up at the very top and showcase everything that is there and available moving through the entrance and into the World Pro Racing Arena. He's got every chance as he stood by with Justin.
Mr. Dean, how are you?
Pretty good.
I'm sure ready for another win, right?
Hoping so.
47 points because of the pole position and driver of the day. Let's see if you do it again. Wishing you good luck and hopefully no incidents at all. Important to give us a show.
Yeah.
Next.
Absolutely, and some good insight then into the opening stages. Then Dean Vella knows that this is going to be a race that he wants to try and control from the front. First driver in, as he will do well. Be joined by number 14, Sheldon Muscat, who pretty much was the equal, was the main challenger last time out, and it could be something very, very similar here today. And it's all about that challenge. The lights absolutely blaring. So, of course, photosensitivity warning for those in and around. But crucially, Sheldon Muscat, he knows he's got to stay on level pegging.
Sheldon, second position. Your feeling today?
Very confident for Nurburgring. I'm, pretty fast there, so we'll see what we can do.
Practiced enough?
Not much.
Of course, because you didn't have the setup. Good luck.
Maybe on the back foot, not having the setup, but a track that you love is always going to be a boon in your back pocket. You have that natural affinity to it, that natural affinity to practice more for it, and I'm sure that natural understanding is going to help. 517, Dylan De Bono is going to be third in the championship, had some consistent back-to-back third places, and certainly should be looking to try and kick on in this second race, close down the gap, tenths of a second, and looking with confidence then over through, looking for opportunities, maybe consolidating the podium.
Dylan, first podium, the first round, your first official championship, actually international championship. Today, prepared?
Much better than last week. Hope we have a better race than last week.
It's Nurburgring with the BMW. Wishing you good luck.
up as well is certainly going to be okay. We've got this, it's go time.
Kirsten, how are you feeling today?
Not bad. A bit intense, but good.
Second round and already intense. Who knows? Wishing you good luck.
Well, if it's intense after 2 rounds, I'd hate to feel what it will be like after 6 when we get down to the end of the season. Kirsten walking to one of the furthest away in terms of rig out there on track, and they all have those wonderful simulated battles that go on forward, and they all look to challenge. Andrea Rizzo then 5th after a good run, 17 points, traded positions with Nigel Mifsud over the course of racing, but this is going to be important, getting accustomed to the opening stages. Now it's about put your head down. This is where you get to the meat and potatoes of the championship, and Andrea Rizzo looking to try and climb up the order slowly but surely as things go on.
Rizzo, the guy without the sim. Are we right? How are you feeling today?
Not so good. Looking at practice in quali and the race.
Quali is only 15 minutes, meaning from the drivers that we have interviewed so far, they are quite intense. Rizzo is also intense, an intense race. Wishing you good luck, Rizzo.
So intense, no simulator at home means the practice is always going to be a little bit more limited as and when they go about. So when they have themselves that little bit of drama out then overall, that they don't have themselves the ability to practice as much, well, they know that this is going to be a really important challenge. Nigel Mifsud then will be up next, number 17 out there overall today, and with 17 points for number 17 from the opening round, might be a case of finding even more out there to go with. It was a, I would say, professional start for Nigel Mifsud. Didn't really have too much go wrong, and pretty much put down an easy banker to start things off. And Nigel is there with another Mifsud in Justin.
Nigel, another newcomer to the esports competitive scene, starting with the national championship. He started quite with a strong competitors as well alongside with him. Your feeling today during the practice and now qualifying starting soon?
I was happy with my pace in practice. Obviously, some of these guys are super talented. They've been doing this for a while. So overall, first week I was happy with my performance. Hope to replicate that, maybe improve as well, and I'll be satisfied.
BMW, how did you feel it?
I like it. I like it. I like the setup. I like the feel. It's a bit more predictable, being obviously engine in the front, rear-wheel drive. I find it more stable. So overall, today I'm quite confident I can do well.
Wishing you good luck.
Thank you.
So everyone understanding that it's going to be a little bit more different, of course, and as they run, I believe it's the M4 GT3 that they will have the opportunity to be driving today. It is going to be a little bit different on the handling, and you need to be the best all-rounder as the season goes on. Daryl Martinelli, the opening round wasn't as amazing as first hoped, just 14 points to play with from the opening run, an average of 7 points per race. But if you want to get back up through, you're going to have to find a car that suits, and it might be that the BMW is his preferred car of choice today.
Daryl Martinelli, 14 points. Hoping that, I'm saying it for you, that you do better today. Your feeling so far during the practice session, and how you're feeling for the next 2 races to come?
I would need some more time to get even better on track, but every minute and every lap I'm gaining more experience, gaining more time, so I wish I had more time, but this is what it is. I'll do my best.
Wishing you good luck.
Well, he's got 15 minutes if he wants to improve, and you might see that lap on lap in terms of accelerating forward and finding and excelling in what is a very, very particular track out there. Number 14, Gianluigi Carrao, is going to be hoping that after what was the initial rounds moving forward, that there will be finishes this time in the second round of this championship. It was a trial by fire to start, but with the slow walk, taking everything in terms of moving forward into this race, I'm sure Gianluigi Carrao is hoping that there will be opportunities to continue battling well.
I think from you have seen from the live, he's taking it too easy, it seems. Are you calm?
Yes, I am.
It clearly shows. Gianluigi, first round wasn't quite good at the NF, and the second race you got 6 points. Today, the practice session, and I'm going to ask you if you're tense or not, because you're calm already. How are you feeling today?
Pretty calm. I think I can make a good result today.
Great. Let's hope he does a good result and compete with the remaining of the drivers. Wishing you good luck, Gianluigi.
Confidence is very much there, and as such, there should be a chance for drivers to get themselves situated. If you've got that confidence, you may as well run with it. But confidence is all good during the week. It's only when you get to here where you find yourself in that place. New driver, though, in number 34, Trajan Pavlovsky, will then look to try and get a good run today. Of course, you're always on the back foot when you miss the opening round, but this is, of course, the national championship, and Trajan will be an unknown quantity to the rest of the drivers, and this should be a really, really good indicator of where Trajan's strengths and weaknesses lie.
Trajan, he missed his first round, unfortunately. Let's hope that you do better. Actually better, of course you're going to do better in the second round, but from your experience today, the first practice session in the National Championship, how did you feel, the car, everything? Are you excited, tense?
Yes, I'm having fun, and that's the most important thing, but I need some more practice, definitely.
He needs more practice, meaning the practice is going to continue in the qualifying round. Wishing you good luck, Trajan, and on to you, Jake.
No worries at all. Thank you there, Justin, as all drivers will be given that opportunity then to get in behind the wheel and understand they are pretty much in a place, in a scenario where they all have the same car, they all have the same setup, but they are allowed to change a couple things on the machinery to fine-tune to liking. So they have that in the back pocket as and when their qualifying efforts look to go and start. And some drivers coming in with confidence, some drivers coming in with calm, some drivers not looking forward to this round, the second round overall. And this then becomes a case of, well, drivers' morales are higher and lower, confidence levels higher and lower. And I wonder whether that's going to translate to their body language out on track. You can tell when a driver is comfortable. You can tell when a driver is not comfortable out there on circuit. And I think sim racing gives that 10 times more away than you would say in the real world. In the real world, put the helmet on. And essentially, when you've got that helmet on, nobody in the world knows how you're feeling, how you're reacting, unless you've got driver radios or something of the like while you're in there. When it comes to sim racing, it's a bit different. You have that understanding of the whites of the eyes, how a driver looks around a circuit, how intensely they're looking, their body language of how they sit in the seat, how they turn the wheel, how much strength they have when they grip the wheel and flick up and down through the gears. You've got all of that to try and understand. You can really pick apart when a driver is good and when a driver is not so good when it comes to their feeling and understanding of a circuit, and a feeling of an understanding of a car a little bit different to what they have. Of course, Assetto Corsa Competizione is the place of places when it comes to GT content. You would feel and understand it's a dedicated simulated platform for that, and it's often GT3, GT4. Those understandings of machinery have been so vital in the process to why Assetto Corsa Competizione has been picked up, at least for this year, in regards to the FIA Motorsport Games. Of course, there is talks of going to Gran Turismo 7 next year. Of course, the conversation around that is they're waiting for platform stability before they make that jump back into that realm and back towards Gran Turismo. But at least for the moment, Assetto Corsa Competizione gives a little bit more flexibility, gives that realm for everyone to go out and challenge in a way that they can feel comfortable with. And really, I think it does offer quite a lot of benefits, actually, having such a dedicated platform, which is constantly keeping an eye on its balance of performance between the vehicles, between how they go, and does give that brilliant consistency metric of how close you are to the racing line, how often you're hitting the marks perfectly. And I tell you what, when you've got drivers who are hitting 99.5% consistency around laps, around 20 minutes worth of racing, it's there. These drivers are there. They know how to drive a clean and effective race. It is going to be very difficult today in order to stop certain drivers out there from running away with what is an incredibly difficult battle today for the championship. The top two split by just 2 points, and the battle will already start in qualifying, especially when you consider that the opening qualifying foray gives that 1 bonus point. And 1 bonus point does not sound like much in the grand scheme of things, especially when you've got 5 points difference between first and second. But 1 point has already made a difference so far over the course of championship action. It's a 2-point lead for Dean Vella, and every single point adds up. That could be the equivalent at the end of the season of 12 points if you're really, really fortunate. And that could be upwards of 2 positions in a race, which you have in the back pocket. You're able to close down that gap. There's a little look at the drivers, all sat in, all waiting for their abilities to get ready and to tackle the qualifying efforts. Overall, a lot of looks around then to what I believe will be Sheldon Muscat's rig down near the back. So looks hopefully everything is okay on that end, but a lot of talk around that. Of course, parity is the most important thing to have when it comes to racing assets today. And as all of these drivers get themselves accustomed, they're here for a long time. In the overall time, I think they finished around 10 o'clock there or thereabouts on the opening week, and they'll be hoping for maybe a slightly earlier night by comparison, but they know that they're going out here. This is an evening. This is an event that they have been gearing up to all week, that they've put those preparations in, and especially with a lot of sim racers as well, they do have to juggle the work-life balance. Of course, sim racing, not every driver is a dedicated professional out there. A lot of sim racers are just everyday folk like you or me, for example, who just dabble on the odd occasion or find themselves in a position where this is their hobby. They come back after work, they come back after for some people, school, and give themselves that chance to go out and practice and try and reach a level where they can reach the very top. And it is a wonderful, cost-effective way of getting into racing as a hobby, as a whole. Of course, it used to be a time where the only way you could get into racing was you could grab a car and go. And the video game generation, the esport generation, has certainly kicked forward and has created some wonderful work over the course of the years. And we have seen that time and again, and only going from strength to strength with more legitimacy and more high-powered, high-tiered events coming in, and more high-intensity or big-name sponsors and manufacturers are getting in on the boom and are getting themselves in for what is some great action. We're not a million miles away from getting things all sorted. We will get understanding issues as we go through. Just fixing an issue on the PC there for Sheldon Muscat is the word we are hearing, and technical delays do find themselves here. So that should be a good opportunity. We're just getting word in that the issue has been sorted out. So that might mean that we are going to be getting to qualifying as they go forward. And it is worth reminding as well, ladies and gentlemen, that next week, when it comes to World Pro Racing, we are going to be launching an ACC, Assetto Corsa Competizione Championship, out, ready, and available for all of you. And that doesn't, I believe, just mean drivers who find themselves in Malta, but around Europe and the world as well may have that opportunity to jump in and race and get more understanding of how that happens. But you've got to stay with us at World Pro Racing to make sure that that becomes available and that becomes an opportunity for you the driver to get a chance to go through. And World Pro Racing has been so fantastic in terms of giving a platform for not just drivers at the pointy end when it comes to sim racing, but drivers who are just starting to jump up on the ladder and needs more time and needs more understanding of various simulators out there and pace and just building up a repertoire and momentum to get quicker and quicker and quicker. So in the back of the mind that there is that ability to develop, and World Pro Racing and the World Pro Racing arena has been incredible in terms of developing talents in a country where there hasn't been necessarily a racetrack to go around and race. Of course, that's coming in the next few years, and that's going to be really fun to see how that track will all shape out. But at least right now, it's about building for the future, and this is one of the first stages of building to the future, where drivers have that opportunity to jump in and race and put themselves up at the very top, and we should be finding that out shortly when it comes to the qualifying effort. Of course, with qualifying, it is 15 minutes worth of qualifying. When the checkered flag drops, you are allowed to finish the lap that you have available started. The winner in qualifying, who takes the pole position, gets an extra championship point in the back pocket to play with. It might be that the championship goes out to 3 points before the start of racing. It may shrink to 1 point. It may stay the same at 2 points. And that could be all of the difference making that we are expecting here today. So those drivers as well, with that little bit of delay, those nerves will just slightly open up a little bit more. And being a little bit nervous as a driver isn't necessarily a bad thing. Being nervous means you care, that you have that understanding and expectation of you want to do the best that you possibly can. And it is right as an emotion to feel nervous, and I'm sure that these drivers will be looking to try and channel those nerves into outright pace over the course of today. But there are, of course, going to be many pitfalls around this circuit. One of the keys around this place is that there isn't that much in terms of classic runoff area that is there, of course, especially in the middle sector. There is more gravel around, more grass compared to, say, areas like Turn 1, for example, the Mercedes-Benz Arena, the run through Ravenel and Bilstein. Those are what you would traditionally find when it comes to motorsport, which is open, expansive runoff. It is an amalgamation of the old and the new, and of course, the development of the Mercedes-Benz Arena, or the AMG Arena as it is, Tilke design. So it gave that ability to say, instead of the fast right-left opening to the clockwise lap, got that hairpin right, and then it leads along the very difficult off-camber Turn 2 into Turn 3, where you can have a lunge if you are very, very brave. And then at Turn 4, a 90-degree right-hand bend, which feels 10 times tighter than it actually is. A 90-degree corner, which often has a hairpin feel to it. And that opening sector pretty much sets up the tone for the lap. So if they can find that tone, if they can find that ability to get those lap times in, I'm sure we're going to find it. And these drivers are going to find everything that they want. As looks like everyone then getting those final checks and understandings in. You can see on the third screen a look at the tyre pressures and all the rest. And I believe drivers now are just starting to head themselves out onto track. So they will have that opportunity to try and set and represent those flying laps. And of course, with everyone on an out lap, they'll be hoping for good runs and good racing here with World Pro Racing to start. So the second round will be all important as drivers look to understand what they need. And what will be the most concerning will be for Sheldon Muscat, because he hasn't had the ability to sit down as much and feel comfortable getting into that rhythm. It's going to have to take a little bit longer, and it might take a couple laps for Sheldon to really get up to pace because of the issues that were there earlier on. So with those small issues in play, should be a good run as they go forward. It might even have been Kirsten Abeja who might have been in a little bit of trouble. But as you can see, drivers then out on track, and we've got eyes on number one, Dean Vella, and that beautiful BMW M4 that runs itself up the hill and over the curbs and driving towards now Ravenel and Bilstein. Let's take ourselves then a listen in to Dean Vella as he looks to gear up for the opening qualifying foray. His attempt then to try and get as much as possible as the rears just open up. So then, onto a flying lap then goes Dean Vella on the brakes, turning a little bit and braking as he goes in towards turn number 1 here, which is the Yokohama S. Essentially, they don't take the S, so it's the Yokohama curve. Up then into the AMG Arena, turn 2, off camber, always going to try and throw you out there onto the AstroTurf, which then runs immediately into turn 3. Flicking through the left, takes a very, very shallow line through there to open up turn 4 as much as possible. You have to compromise somewhere on that line to give yourself more towards the exit. Then the run along the Goodyear straight over towards turn 5 and 6. The 90-degree left and down the hill. This is such a difficult braking zone and so easy to overshoot and go over that curb. He takes a hefty chunk of it, does Dean Vella, moving through, and we'll be looking behind out on the circuit as well, because Dylan De Bono will be there in through the hairpin then that they go along, of course the Goodyear hairpin as it is now, and they will climb up the hill through the Michael Schumacher S, the fast left and right. You're always trying to carry them, very limited grip, and a bit of a correction from Dean Vella there will not have been the most thrilling for him on this opening lap. Through Ravenel already, that 90-degree left and then into the right then of Bilstein. You're always trying to put the power down as early as possible, but the corner does take a while, so you have to be careful. This is where you, though, get to full power, moving through Advan Bogan and then trying to find your braking point, 50-meter board. You don't take the first chicane, you take the second. It's a very fast left-right and all over the grass. That should invalidate the lap you'd have felt there for Dean Vella, just pushing a little bit too hard there at the end, and that then will be a lap around the Nurburgring, and a track and a circuit which has been very influential in sim racing terms, as Dylan De Bono sets the first representative time of a 1:56.182. That then becomes the bench setter's time out here today from the Nürburgring, a track which has been brilliant. Sim Racing Expo tends to happen every single year. It can, and has been a great place for understanding where essentially the Glastonbury of sim racing is in terms of going there. A lot of drivers, a lot of teams, a lot of competitors love to get an understanding of what sim racing is capable of doing, and that place holds no exceptions in terms of how they go forward. So, at least for the moment, Dylan De Bono on top. It is Nigel Mifsud currently in second. Got a couple of drivers pulling over and taking their resets back to the pits, hence the yellow flags in the opening sector. And drivers do have that license to do that. There is no responsibility for them to complete a full lap. They are allowed to bring the car back to the pits the sim racing way by just pulling the car over, escaping the car and saying, I'll go back out, get new tyres and go again. And as Enemed powers your drive, track temperature today is 26 degrees, which is pretty much in the middle. The track grip is optimum at this point in time, so they'll be driving to absolutely where they want to be. And dry conditions, once again, here at the Nürburgring will certainly be helpful for their challenges. They don't want to be dealing with any adverse weather effects as they go forward. It is straight up how they want to be racing at this point in time. So De Bono, Mifsud, Abeja, Pavlovsky, Rizzo, your top 5 as things stand at the moment. Dylan De Bono over the line improves even further, now to a 55.4. So it's a full second that has come off, and those times, expect them to drop more and more as the racing goes on, because they're supposed to go there. Kirsten Abeja, by the way, has just had that big off then at the chicane. You're always trying to fight for the latest possible moment that you have to brake there at the Vidal chicane. And it very much was too late at that point in time. And that brought Kirsten Beher the wrong way. Trajan Pavlovsky is there at this point in time in 4th position. So there you needed a little bit more time to practice. Well, the time looks pretty good right now. 4th position is definitely nothing to shake a stick at. Need a face of concentration, tipping the car in towards the lefts and rights and finding pretty much everything that's wanted at this moment. Nothing too adverse at this point in terms of what Trajan's been looking for out on circuit. Moving on the brakes into the hairpin right with the number 4 on his machine, the number 4 on the car at the moment, and everybody in the same categorized class. Of course, there is a class-based ranking system of Pro, Pro-Am, Silver, and Am out there overall. And of course, because they're all in a Simrig term and they're all in the same place, any personal licenses that they would have in the Setter Corsa Competizione would be away from where they are at this point in time. So Darren Martinelli down in 9th position has a little bit of work to chase at this point, and will be certainly hoping that his times can improve as the sessions go on. But there are surprises here, or there were surprises, because Dean Vella's just gone quickest of anybody then on that lap, and immediately pulls it over, happy and comfortable with that effort. And it has taken over half the session for Dean Vella to move up to the top. It is a long lap around here. If you don't get it correct, it's a full 2 minutes, and if you reset the car back to the pits, it's essentially 4 minutes to get yourself a lap together. And that can be frustrating over 15 minutes, because if you have to reset the car twice, you only get 3 opportunities, and you'd already be down to your final chance to make some moves. It is absolutely still as still can be in terms of wind. It is settled at 0 miles an hour and kilometers an hour, so there is no movement at all out there, so nothing's going to be buffeting against the vehicles in terms of finding a lap that they absolutely want. There is Dylan De Bono in 2nd position right now. Nigel Mifsud currently 3rd. There is time to be had and still time to be found. And as they run up the hill then, does Dylan through the left and right of the Schumacher S. This helicopter camera really does show how important this lap is. Sheldon Muscat only goes 3rd fastest then with his lap time. So not good enough there. 55.9 is on the wrong side of things at this point in time. I am curious to know just the differences, what they are compared to everyone within the field right now. It looks like almost everyone has got a time set in at this point. Martinelli's just moved up 6th fastest, so absolutely everyone's got a time. And it's a 55.1 from Dean Vella. So again, that same margin of about 0.8 of a second is the difference right now between 1st and 3rd. Dylan De Bono in there on a 55.8 is 0.7 of a second behind. So it's another big gap for Dean Vella. And the crucial news for him is that he's got Dylan De Bono in there, and that could be crucial. If he can get a gap early on, he might find more time later. You can already see the marbles on the inside of the track from where everyone has been running. That was an outlap there for Dean Vella, so he'll go on to a flying lap with 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Dylan De Bono right now just making his way through I would say, initial stages of the sector, through the left and the right down the hill. You can tell by the mini-map on the right-hand side of your screen, just above where Dylan De Bono is right now, that if the dot is in red, that is the car we're on, and Dylan's going to pull it over to one side. Not happy with that lap. Does have time for one more to go through. Andrea Rizzo also pulling the car over. Nigel Mifsud trying to warm some tyres up before going on to a flying lap through the chicane. And look how bouncy the front of his BMW is at this point in time. He's really having to be alert and careful to the particulars of this machinery, and if that is very much the case, then we're going to be in for a lot of drivers having to battle against the track over the course of racing action today. So, down the hill, then at turn 1, Andrea Rizzo will come out of the pits and will look to try and go on to a flying lap with 3.5 minutes on the clock. So we'll have to get around and just letting the traffic through. Blue flags being waved and administered at this point in time. So there is always that to be having to race around and deal with over the course of a track like this. It is a long track, though. It is a very importantly long track, and it does carry that flow and rhythm to it that a lot of other places do struggle to find out there. Here's Pavlovsky, who has been dropped down to 8th position overall. Would dearly love to jump higher than that, and does manage so, going to 6th fastest on a 57.797. So good enough then at this point in time to move up a couple places. It is getting pretty close down in the middle of the pack right now. These 9 drivers know it is going to be a tall order. No Goran Andreevsky here today, and as such, in comes Pavlovsky for racing action. So here's Kirsten Abeja moving down the hill on the brakes into the Goodyear hairpin, and the Goodyear curve is now going to be about getting power on. And this is the virtual view of what a driver looks like in sim, what a driver looks like in the real world. And Kirsten Abeja has all of his rivals at about 70 degrees behind him as he drives around and looks to try and carry as much speed. These 2 transfer corners and a big wiggle on entry and a big stab of acceleration on exit not helping. So bucket loads of understeer, just being a little bit too aggressive. Maybe is Kirsten trying to find the final stages of lap time. It's not going to be as pretty and plain sailing, and once again just a bit too heavy on that inside curve. There's an anti-cut curve on that inside. He looks over, a couple of claps, not happy, knows there's only one opportunity left to put everything together. So concentrate, young Kirsten, and attack in the final stages then of qualifying. So there is still a minute to go to find that one lap time that's needed. It's Vela who is on top, and in fact right now is currently in the pit, so any chance for Dean Vela to improve will now not happen. It'll be up to Sheldon Muscat and Dylan De Bono, who are 3rd and 2nd respectively, to find those lap times. There is Sheldon Muscat looking to try and pivot through the corner, attack off of the exit, and move on up and gain some time, some all-important time through the Schumacher S. And just getting on the power. There is a car in front. I believe that car was out there in front is Andrea Rizzo at this point in time. So there will be that to try and navigate through the final sector of the lap. And a big wiggle on the power once again going through Bilstein corner. So there is that. There is no chance then for Jean-Louis Crowd to improve. He'll be guaranteed last as the checkered flag will come out then in session. And there goes Sheldon Muscat off the road in a dramatic fashion. And that will mean that Sheldon can start no better than 3rd in race. Dylan De Bono did get over the line before the checkered flag came out, so will be the last car on track to set a lap time. Let's listen in as he makes progress then towards the Mullenbacher section of the circuit. Not good enough though. So for Dylan De Bono, his lap time ends prematurely. Kirsten Abeja looking to improve on 5th position. 1 position over Nigel Mifsud would be nice out there overall for him. But Abeja over the line remains 5th fastest, despite the improvements to a 57.255, and Pavlovsky done as well. And a little bit of frustration there for Kirsten Abeja putting the car off the road. But that is everybody done and dusted then when it comes to their qualifying efforts, and they know that their racing efforts should be coming up in the not too distant future. We're going to step aside though just before that, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be watching your Malta National GT3 Esports Championship for 2022. We'll be back with the first race of 2 here tonight after this.
Okay, we proceed to the start.
that they've had out there on circuit. Their next challenge now is the opening race of 2 that they will have to move forward here with World Pro Racing on TVM Sports, on ESTV, on motorsport.tv, as well as on YouTube and on Facebook as well. The Multinational GT3 Esports Championship 2022, round 2 of the championship from the Nurburgring should be an interesting challenge. It was once again Dean Vella, the fastest in qualifying. An extra bonus championship point puts him now 3 points clear at the top moving into racing, knowing that it's going to be about staying calm under the weight of expectation that is going to bring everything into play. Of course, here racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione, this should be the all-important challenge that everyone is looking at right now. These drivers know and understand that they're going to be there, and there is their nervous weight then for all these drivers out then getting that call to go to the rigs, and a few waves as they go by. I believe a couple drivers are there in a bit of a conversation, looking to get as much as they can. And there is Justin down there having himself a little bit of a smile as he goes through. But everyone with that ability to have that pre-race talk, that pre-race understanding, that camaraderie between competitors. And it's very much the same as you'd get in a real-world paddock. You get drivers who are all out there trying to be friendly rivals out there on the circuit. Once the quote-unquote visor goes down, that's it. Everyone else out there is just another number, and it's going to be about how you race around them. And you get a better understanding of who's in front of you, who's around you when you go out there, when you race, especially in the sim world, because you do have that understanding of the big name in front of you. That is X driver who is in front of me. That is who I'm chasing down. That's who I want to beat as a competitor, and it very much is going to be that case. We're going to jump down as well. We're going to have a little look. Justin's down there having a little bit of a chat and conversation to some of the drivers, and hopefully he will be looking best placed and best pleased to see how everyone feels now after qualifying has conducted itself.
Jake, everybody here is quite eager to race, I think. Are you eager to race?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He's ready. He's always ready. He's been practicing for 10 hours a day, I think, right?
Yeah. Not going to work at all, just practicing. You wish.
Full-time sim racer. Not. Work, and then free-time training. Andrea Rizzo, he's escaping the camera, but still, I always try to put him in front of the camera because he's the guy without the sim. He doesn't like it at all when we say that, but jokes apart, he's the one that keeps putting that effort without practice at home because he doesn't have a sim, right? Joking apart, how are you feeling now after the qualifying the car? Are you settled on the car, or is it your favorite car or not?
No.
No.
But at least I improved from practice. So from last time, 7th place now.
As you can see, Rizzo has been competing for quite a long time here and always improving. And here you can see him in the national championship. In the national championship because he qualified, not because he was chosen. So it's their effort that they're being here. And yes, well done to you. Hopefully no major incidents happen, but then I leave that up to Adrian's side to give you the penalties as a present for your next birthday. Who else do we have? Trajan, who is doing his first round, although it's the second round, but he missed the first round. Tell us now, after the qualifying.
I mean, it was better, but still, we need to improve, but we will have fun and do our best. That's basically it.
You're quite calm. You're quite calm.
Yes, why not?
He's calm.
We are here to have fun, so...
We're here to have fun, yes, which is one of the major and important things in our, how do you say it, our list of things that we have to always keep focusing on. Having fun. Having fun during even a professional event, because fun is always important to keep it in a professional way, yet enjoyable. It's always like that with World Pro Racing, and it will remain till the rest of our lives. Gianluigi, after the qualifying.
Excuse me?
After the briefing, after the briefing now. Now I'm getting mixed up. After the qualifying, the car ready, you ready?
Yes, the car is ready. I'm ready too. What can I say? I will try to improve as much as I can.
He's not calm as he was before the qualifying, right?
Yeah, kind of.
You see, the tension starts building up because now there's a 20-minute race, another break, another 20-minute race. This championship leads to the winner to represent Malta in the FIA Motorsport Games in France. So this is something which is unique. Every year you're representing your country, and it's not a joke. You're representing your country along with those that we call them aliens. There's someone who knows quite a lot of aliens. Where is the other alien? Sheldon knows quite a lot of aliens because he's been competing for quite a long time internationally. What can you tell us about aliens?
Oh, they're very quick, and they have, the proper setup for the car, and they just go, they just go.
You have to remember that when somebody here is going to compete with these drivers, these aliens we call them, because they are more than pros. They find all the, not flaws of the game, but every single bit on the track that they can gain some time. And you're going to be competing with the best drivers in the world on Assetto Corsa Competizione. We have else Kirsten. Kirsten is quite, he drove quite a lot of time in our championship, participated in various local events as well. Prepared for the race?
No.
No. We have 2 no's, I think, already.
I was struggling a lot. I overdrove in the qualifying, so I was over 2 seconds, while in practice I was in the second for the pole.
setup, you felt as in comfortable in the setup, as in how it was set up, because everybody has the same setup, but they can adjust to their preference. Setup-wise, what can you tell us?
In practice, I was feeling quite good, was quite consistent over a number of laps. But as we went on to qualifying, I lost the feeling. I couldn't, even with the tire pressures, I couldn't adjust well.
Anyway, we have to wish you good luck now, irrelevant to what happened. 2 races of 20 minutes each. Wishing you good luck. Nigel, and we have left, and you can come next to me because only 3 minutes remaining, I think. Tell us, very, very short, ready for the first race?
Yes, excitement starts to pick up now, but yes, happy with qualifying, so let's see if I can convert it to a good result.
Great. Find your seat, I'll be prepared. Dylan?
Let's hope for a good race and good first corner, because I'm a bit afraid, but let's see.
And hoping for another podium, no? Of course. You can go to your seat. Martinelli, prepared, ready to take a podium, maybe?
We hope so, but prepared as much as I can be for today, but hoping for a clean race, no damage, not like last time, so we finish the race strong.
Good luck, you can find your seats so you can prepare. Few minutes remaining for the first race of the Malta National Championship, fueled by Enemed, second round, actually, where we have 2 other races of 20 minutes each with the BMW M4 GT3. Same setup, they can adjust to it. Who knows what will happen? We'll leave it to Adrian's side from stewarding and George, and on to you, Jake, for the colourful commentary.
Thank you, Justin. And we are just moments away then from putting our foot down and saying lights on, lights out, and getting over to racing action. And I tell you what, some drivers do like where they've been from qualifying, others don't. And it's going to show in the race who can respond to those pressures that they put on in the early stages, who is going to put themselves in the best available position to go out and make a race. We saw how it's a similar gap, different cars though, between qualifying last week and this week, and it might just be very, very similar here today in terms of how results go about. We saw in the opening or the second race last week how to disrupt Dean Vella is to make a pass early, force him to try and make some moves. That's got to be the plan going down into turn number 1. You've got to try and take that place. You've got to have a good start. As with every start when it comes to Assetto Corsa Competizione, it will be a rolling start to get each other into position to make that all work, which means that it is more likely that the driver on the inside has that ability to go for the move, go for that chance in towards turn number 1, the Yokohama corner, to open up the lap. And if you do have that chance to lunge, this is one of the very few circuits where everything sort of funnels in the opening corner. It is very, very sharp on a drop on the apex, right on the very inside. So drivers do take a very, very late turn in to that opening corner, effectively a skew out towards the very, very outside of the circuit, and even off of the circuit at times, to try and make sure there is a way through. So everyone is going to be fighting for one bit of road when they come out of the opening corner, and that is going to be crucial because it switches back to the inside for turn number 2, and that might be where a race today could be won or lost, not once, but twice over the course of the action that we've got. You've got 2 opportunities to get your points and 2 opportunities to try and prove what you are made of out here with racing here today. So there is still going to be that. Drivers are looking to try and get themselves ready. The final elements of opportunity then, any last tweaks that they have thought that they've wanted, they've all been alerted from the driver briefing, of course, which has gone on. Adrian Fagaio has been working hard. George Muscat as well behind the scenes has been in there trying to make sure that everybody knows exactly the lay of the land, the rules that they're racing by. Incredibly efficient, organized competition here at World Pro Racing from a stewarding team that has been, by every measure and metric, a team that has got a lot of real-world experience and has been stewarding all across the European peninsula, and it will give them a really good chance to go forward. So this is how your grid will line up. Dean Vella will be on pole position. He will have Dylan De Bono on the front row with him, Sheldon Muscat third, and Nigel Mifsud in 4th position. A great qualifying there. Kirsten Abeja will feel a little bit hard done by his qualifying effort. 5th position overall. And then, of course, Trajan Pavlovsky will be in 6th position. Then it is Andrea Rizzo in 7th. Daryl Martinelli in 8th position. And then finally, Gianluigi Carrao will end the field in 9th position overall. So they will have the challenge. They run through down to the bottom of the circuit now here at the Goodyear Curva, and around about the final sector they will start lining themselves up too wide to give themselves that attack through when the green flag will drop. Track has dropped in the sim time, of course, 4:21 in the afternoon. This track is only going to get colder. It's only going to get more slipperier. Up the hill then, moving towards the left and right of Ravenel and Bilstein, the 2 corners that make up 90-degree sweepers. Very easy to get this section of track wrong. It is so innocuous in terms of the way you go through. Ravenel especially is probably one of the most inviting corners out here on the circuit. Moving through to Bilstein, it is really another attacking prowess corner, but you have to wait when you go through Bilstein to put everything into perspective. So 20 minutes. Drivers now know as they take the run through Ad Van Bogen and up towards the all-important left and right of the Vidal chicane, they would then just have the Hyundai N-curve to finish out the lap. And as everyone closes right up there from about 5th position there, that was Kirsten Abeja nearly pushing into the back of Sheldon Muscat, and that would have been some real troubles early on as drivers looked to really try and generate heat into the tyres after what was a slow pace lap. So Dean Vella absolutely slowing that pace down, absolutely trying to get as much heat as possible, and Dylan De Bono's got to be careful here off of this start that he doesn't jump ahead too much. By the time that the green flag drops, they will have to make sure that this race works out for them. 20 minutes then for race number 3, round number 2 of your multinational GT3 Championship. Green flags drop and we are underway, and Dylan De Bono on the clean side of the circuit has got a really good start. He doesn't have the inside though for the opening corner, and squeezing through 3 wide with a bit of contact. That's Abeja trying to go through. Nigel Mifsud in the end getting a little tap for troubles going through. Andrea Rizzo's really gained from that, has moved up into 5th position and now moving almost off the circuit there. I believe that would be Mifsud then getting absolutely shuffled back then in the back of the group then. Another little tap that goes by, and the 6 jumps forward then and gains another position. I believe that is Gianluigi Carrao finding it's Daryl Martinelli who's found himself some good time. So Martinelli couldn't quite focus on that pass, but the opening Foray goes through and nicely done. No room really on the outside. Still going to try it though down the hill. Not going to be quite there though. Good scrapping in the back of the pack, but crucially Dean Vella was able, I believe, to just hold on to that position off of the start. De Bono 2nd, Muscat still in 3rd, Abeja up to 4th, but there will be talks about a bit of contact here and there. Nigel Mifsud getting absolutely shufted back down the pack into 7th position. Pavlovsky as well at the back, and losing it left, right and centre there in the background. Kirsten Abeja somehow able to hold on to it without contact, it seemed, with the barriers. That would have been a really scary moment for him as he went through. That somehow is saved by Kirsten Abeja, and he at this point in time is able to get back into position. He looks around, take a breath. It's your opening lap. It's the easiest place to have a moment, but it has just promoted a number of drivers up the order now. Andrea Rizzo up to 4th as they go through, and a 5-second time penalty added on for Nigel Mifsud then, and that if he does not take a pit stop in this race, no driver is expected to take a pit stop here in this one. That will mean that he'll have to serve that at the end of racing at this point in time, as he finds himself in 6th position, driving down towards the Yokohama corner for the first time. He has got Corral just in front, who's made the most progress off the start. Big lunge back there. Pavlovsky versus Abeja on track then between the top two. Looks like they've cleanly got themselves through it. But Nigel Mifsud on the charge, has to make up time early. He's got Corral just in front. Will try and look to the inside at turn 3 of the AMG Arena. Will give himself fully through at turn 4. And he could put the power down a lot earlier there by that point in time. And a look at the pedal work then as he went through the opening stages. But these laps expect him to tick through. Andrea Rizzo with the purple mark by his name indicates he's got the fastest lap of the race so far. But Dylan De Bono has not thrown himself fully out of this race. Has stayed with the early pace of Dean Vella, and there is a difference between qualifying pace and race pace, getting the most out of it. That penalty from Nigel Mifsud, of course, would be with the contact with Traian Pavlovsky. So for Pavlovsky's race, he knows he's got a long way to go through. He's back down in 9th position. That 5-second adjudicated penalty will be interesting as Darryl Martinelli runs wide through the Schumacher S. Opens up the door. A very scary place to make a pass for Kirsten Abeja around the outside. And he manages it as Pavlovsky there just runs off the road, breaking himself into Ravenel. And the track has dropped a degree down to 23. And here is Nigel Mifsud. Knows he's got the penalty. He's got to get past Andrea Rizzo quickly. And it's going to have to do it the long way around. We'll have a little look and a bit of contact as they go through. As Rizzo holds on to place then. And does well to defend, and eventually he's bringing everybody on the group back in. Can't open up on the exit. Big slap of oversteer though, putting the power down early. One position's going to go, then a second, then a third, as Abeja will jump through as well. It's not often that you lose 3 places in one corner, but there you see that happening. Abeja now lunging to the inside, and the opening corner gets turned in as he goes through. That not part of his plan in terms of moving through. I believe that was Corral he made contact with. And 2 into 1 does not go. And Kirsten Abeja will drop a couple of places, still trying to get through Rizzo in what is 6th position. And it should get the pass through. And they're tripping over behind Martinelli and Pavlovsky, trying to find a way through as well around the outside. And off. They're just in front. That would be Corral, who's run into troubles then. And suddenly everybody is checking up. It's like Noah's Ark sim racing here. They're too wide, they're too deep. They're trying to find themselves a way through. Rizzo now at the back of the pack. Absolute pandemonium at this stage, and contact, more of it there as they go through. I believe that was Martinelli there with a bit of contact with Andrea Rizzo. You don't know which way to look in this scrap. And then Pavlovsky will try and go around the outside of number 38 then and get that pass sorted, and will do at last. So they managed to sort themselves out. They find themselves with the position side by side up the Schumacher S. Then they go, Abeja and I believe Martinelli it was, as they went through. So Martinelli doing a good job on the brakes. Abeja overshoots, and there is contact, and that is a very tough pass that's gone through Andrea Rizzo, and just behind him Martinelli. Now Martinelli will feel hard done by that, because that has cost him 3 places, that pass, that slight outbraking through that section of road, and they'll have to be careful the longer that this race goes through. Gap at the front now has extended to 1.5 seconds, so the crucial metric has been broken by Dean Vella at this point, and with 2 purple marks, I believe the fastest lap at this point is shared at this point between Sheldon Muscat and Dean Vella. So that does show you just how close the times are out there as they race. But there is your race leader right now, the top 3 away. Dean Vella leads, Dylan De Bono in 2nd, Sheldon Muscat currently in 3rd place as things stand. But that gap is starting to extend out, and it will be a bit concerning for the driver in 2nd position right now. So work to be done. Car 1 in position number 1, car 2 in position number 2 in the form of Dylan De Bono, and in 3rd position Sheldon Muscat finds himself there, trying to chase down that time. Kirsten Abeja is currently in 6th position right now, and looking for 5th on Jean-Louis Corral. But Corral's not going to make this one easy, and a bit of understanding of where you try and make that pass. There's a look at Corral, I believe, at this point in time, in terms of trying to find that way through on the defence. It's a late turn in though from Abeja, and it's all about get onto the noisy pedal off of the exit. So this is a Beja's perspective as well. Trying to drive through, turning in through the left, flicking through the right, and once more, attack on the outside though, wrong side of the road, coming to Ravenel. He's going to have to either cut up and in, and this is the plan, cut up and in here for the Bilstein corner, and really get the run off the exit. But you could just loop the car around, being too aggressive on the inside curb. And for Kirsten Beja, there goes the position. And all of those positions, a huge, huge loss with today's action. That could put him right down at the back of the pack. And if it's a long way from there, get points after what was a pretty solid opening round of the season. Sheldon Muscat, though, is chasing down in third. So too, Trajan Pavlovsky in sixth position. He's got eyes on Corral now in fifth, and nobody seemingly wants to take that fifth place. What is crucial to note, though, is that because they've all been defending so much behind Gianluigi Corral, is that gap for Nigel Mifsud has gone out to 10 seconds. So even with the 5-second time penalty, he's already built a margin up. Well, that penalty doesn't mean anything. Martinelli has driven into the pit, so an unscheduled stop for Daryl Martinelli in this race. But Pavlovsky trying to work through the AMG arena into turn number 4. And on the Goodyear straight, looking to try and attack towards turn number 5 on track. The long left-hander. There is Daryl Martinelli, who is going to pull up in his pit box. And look at the car. It looks absolutely T and total at this point in time. It is taking service at this point, so there'll be tyres going on, fuel going in, but really the damage on the front is evident to see at this point in time. And 3 races in for Daryl Martinelli, and 3 races which have not gone according to plan. There is Sheldon Muscat, currently in third position. Would love to jump up into second, is a little bit caught behind Dylan De Bono at this point. They are fast approaching the halfway stage of this race. There goes Nigel Mifsud around though, and that from an unforced error, because he was clear by 10 seconds. He's just put himself back amongst there as he takes the Pirelli signage hoarding with him for a ride there. He's now back in 6th on the road, and might be back down actually in 8th position on track. So for Nigel Mifsud, a cardinal error coming out there of Bilstein. Sheldon Muscat just as close as he has been the lap before. Can't quite find the overtake. He's trying to search it against Dylan De Bono, who runs wide, has to run with a bit of the AstroTurf on the outside line as they make it out then of the arena and moving so very, very swiftly into the next section of track. There is Trajan Pavlovsky trying to also open up an overtake, try and find every position possible, but it's not going to be as plain sailing as making that pass. You've got to try and work out where the right way to go through is. I tell you what, Gianluigi Corral has driven a very, very admirable race. Everyone's been falling off around him. He's in 4th position. Pavlovsky's had to work hard to get back into position right now, and well, it's going to be questions on where can you find the moves, where can you find the passes, where is every position going to matter at this point. Andrea Rizzo trying to work a way through as well, and is not able to find that pass right now. So there is still more in offing, but at least at this point, these drivers in 7th and 8th are looking for it. Sheldon Muscat goes around then at the Bilstein corner, which has caught almost everybody out here today. And Sheldon, that pretty much will deliver 3rd position to him. Has had the the fastest lap of the race on top of it. So a real shame. Car 3 will be in 3rd, and there is Pavlovsky having to really race with Mifsud, and a big wiggle over that curve. Everyone's taking a bit too much out of it right now. I wonder if the rear tyre temperatures aren't helping either. Look to the inside then, as Mifsud will take that place, but crucially not by terms of metric on the overall race result. You can just see how much they're bouncing it through the final stages of track, and that should be a little bit of a tough battle as they go through, especially in the final stages of the laps that they've got. So Mifsud will now eye up Corral for 5th position. Number 82 moving to the inside, trying to take this one away. Has he got it under brakes? Answer to that is yes, but might just run a little bit deep. Corral can get the cut back up towards turn 2 and will slam the door shut through that section of road, and the position is held and maintained fantastically at that point in time. So good work there from Jean-Louis Corral. He is really holding on, and Nigel Mifsud's just got to open up the opportunity. Nothing really on his face to suggest that anything is out of the ordinary. They move to the left of 5. And as they go through, there's contact from behind as Pawlowski trips up over, and now the road blocked behind. Abeja has to really dive through. Nigel Mifsud caught up in that and will not be happy with that one. You can see it there, the sullen expression as he goes through, and on the rejoin very nearly getting caught up there as well with Corral, who is trying to get back going again. What a shame for that battle to end the way that it has done in terms of this one. I'm not sure that was Corral, it might have been someone else there who was caught up in the mix of it, but there is Nigel Mifsud in 7th position all of a sudden, and way down the order. So Corral in 4th, there is Martinelli, who is a lap down, or 2 laps down actually, on the leader right now, so he's trying to find a finish so he can score points, but that is not something you want to be caught up in the middle of, and we'll have to pull over to one side and allow Pawlowski to move through, and will do so in terms of this race. Lead battle up to 3.5 seconds now between Vella and De Bono at this point, and it's been 4th on back where all of the fireworks have been in this race. Martinelli not making it for position. There's trouble for Kirsten Abeja, and someone was spread eagle sideways. That was Corral in trouble there. So Abeja having to take avoiding action against Gianluigi Corral, who looks around, left, right. Yeah, we've still got a car. It's still pointing in somewhat a straight direction, and somewhat heading to the last quarter of this race. Andrea Rizzo might have a chance to take 4th position, and there he is, and I'm sure he'll be smiling behind his face right now, knowing how well he's done. Kirsten Abeja, by the way, has got a 5-second time penalty. So Andrea Rizzo, in terms of getting 4th position in this race, all he has to do is stay within 5 seconds of the number, or of the car in front, I should say, at this point in time. Jean-Louis Corral finds himself in 6th position. At the moment, he'll be 5th. In fact, it's got up. It's a 10-second time penalty for Kirsten Abeja now. So 10 seconds going through. That's not going to be any good at all for Kirsten Abeja, and that could put Kirsten all the way down behind Nigel Mifsud if the end of this race is in play. Nigel Mifsud's only got to get within 5 seconds to jump ahead by that measure. So a really, really interesting race where it's all been going on. Everyone's been scrapping for those one place here and there. And with a tight circuit like this, which does like to congest drivers pretty close to each other, I'm not surprised we've seen the race that we've had so far going a little bit wide off the road there in front of Nigel Mifsud is Gianluigi Corral, who has been driving really well, it has to be said. But here comes Nigel Mifsud, looking to get the pass on the road. And we'll have to go the long way around, just enough room between them. And sigh of relief maybe there, moving forward. Can't get the pass sorted then at the Vidal chicane. So we'll have to try and look at the Hyundai N-curve and opening up the attack off of the exit, try and get on the power as early as possible, taking a more shallower line, and that has opened up the opportunity, moving to the right, and now on this front stretch, can you find the pass in towards the opening corner? The answer to that is, contact. The answer to that is contact. Gianluigi Corral, I think, didn't have much space to go, and just pinching a bit too much there was Nigel Mifsud. That's so easily done. He does still lose the place, though, so crucially, his plan hasn't worked. Corral holds station, but there wasn't really anywhere where Gianluigi Corral could have gone, as Mifsud was not clear at that point. Inside then to 3 minutes to go. First race of 2 at the Nurburgring, and it is at least at this point in time Vella out in front, 3.5 seconds doing everything he needs to do right now. Nigel Mifsud with the 5-second penalty still needs to get by Corral, and this is what's really hurting his race here. So he can't find a way through. Can't find what they need. They've been fighting so hard in this race. They're already half a lap behind the top 3 in this one. Let's not forget Sheldon Muscat's had a spin in this race. So Nigel Mifsud trying to open up an attack and look for the moves. Going to have to come at some point, but now running through the left of Ravenel into Bilstein. They'll have a run over Advan Bogan as they will press the rise to the highest point then of the circuit, which does come along a very, very hilly place, not too far away from the Eiffel Mountains here at the Nurburgring, but up the hill they go and searching for the pass, and he's going to very much get it on the inside and brute force his way through. He did get all the way alongside, so credit to it. Jean-Luigi Corral tried to shut the door, but the horse had already bolted at that point in time. Not much more you can say or do about that one. Corral will lose out then on 6th position. He'll drop back to 7th, but he'll have to stay within 5 seconds over the last 2 laps of his race. He wants this one to fall into plan. And quite crucially, they are right on the cusp. In fact, just fallen out there has Corral of 10 seconds to Kirsten Abeja. So Abeja is right in the wheelhouse here with Nigel Mifsud, who of course has the 5 seconds on top of that. But there is your race leader right now, Dean Vella. We haven't really had to talk too much about him in this race because it has been a trademark Dean Vella race. It's been quiet, it's been consistent. He's done nothing flashy in this race except slowly extend that gap out in comparison to Dylan De Bono. He has been doing a wonderful job in that respect of building that gap, building that momentum, doing what is so honestly been his trademark over the start of this season and this championship. And he will take one final lap then here around this wonderful Nurburgring circuit and look to try and uncover another 25 points that will extend the gap further up at the top. If you are the fastest driver in qualifying, it makes life so difficult when it comes to the race in terms of opening up chances, getting what is so richly deserved in victory. There is car 2 in position 2. There is car 3 in position 3. So Dylan De Bono has really done well here, has really responded to the BMW and is up in pace there. But also you have to consider as well, Sheldon Muscat is currently there. The flags are out then, the timeout has expired. And those drivers who are only just now coming up through to take the final lap, they will be able to complete it, but at least right now, down at the very bottom end of the circuit, there they are. Martinelli, of course, is 2 laps down and is trying to get past Pavlovsky for pride, if anything else. They know as they sit at the final corner, they do not have long left in this race. Braking down on the inside, wise move by Pavlovsky, let it go, because that is far too deep from the number 6, Daryl Martinelli. I can't even get that working out, so it's going to be a long second race. Try and work out what is needed, but as your leaders now press the rise through Advan Bogan, Dean Vella, what more can you say? This is how you want to start a season off. The opening race is probably the one of the truest form the drivers know and understand, and once again Dean Vella's going to prove to everyone that he has got pace and he has got it to burn, as he will come to the checkered flag and he will take the first win tonight at the Nurburgring and will win by a 3.5 second margin as he crosses the line from Dylan De Bono, who has now firmly cemented himself in the championship fight as well. Sheldon Muscat will take 3rd. Did have a spin, but he does have 1 lap pace today, and that will be concerning for that second race coming up, that he has got that pace. It is going to be a long wait between now to 4th position here in this one, and that wait is only to the chicane at this point in time to Kirsten Abeja, who has that 10-second penalty and I think is still just within range right now. Andrea Rizzo might just jump up into 4th place. Martinelli is still close as they go through. You take a little picture-in-picture. The checkered flag has just come and gone for Kirsten Nebeja, but for Andrea Rizzo, crossing the line, gets in with 9.1 seconds under that 10-second margin, so it's going to be ahead by 9/10. Nigel Mifsud, of course, will drop 5 seconds back, but will remain in 6th position. And then the final two drivers then will cross over the line, Pavlovsky and Martinelli. Martinelli classified as 1 lap down today in proceedings. But for race number 1, what more can you really argue against? That was a strong showing, a strong performance. And now after what is race 1, race 2 will be coming up afterwards. But at least for that opening exchange, Dean Vella has proven to everybody today that he does have what it takes. He does have that pace, and he can transfer it from week to week. And there he is right now, just wiping away some of the sweat, a small smile as he goes through. He knows he's done well. Thumbs up. That was a thumbs up performance, wasn't it? You can put 2 thumbs up for it. It was that good. So he certainly got that all sorted, and he will now know he takes more than just a 2-point lead, more than just a 3-point lead as he moves forward. He will take a 13-point lead into the second race as he has a little look then at how everyone's times and sectors all look, how they were all looking to try and manage that, and he will look just beside as well. And the all-important battles, there is Dylan De Bono, 2nd position, and will be very much happy with that 2nd position. A huge sigh of relief there on terms of that result, taking the gloves off, of course, getting a chance to walk about and breathe after some intensive competition. And they will have that 2nd race, of course, to follow up just afterwards as well. So there's a lot to unpack and discover. Few drivers then looking to bring those cars back into the pits, maybe even get their practices all sorted. As we can see right now, the home of gaming excellence, the World Pro Racing Arena, out then on track for everyone. But that's 1 race then put in the books. There will be a 2nd race to go and find. I believe at some point we are going to have Justin trying to find a conversation. But before we do that, we're going to go and step aside for just 1 moment here. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with race 2 after this.
Okay, we proceed to the start.
race in the book for tonight's action. We've got one more to go, another 20 minutes to put together. Dean Vella now has 13 points at the top of the championship. It's again another consistent and quiet drive where he slowly pulled away early and managed to maintain the gap after that. The pressure was solely on Sheldon Muscat to move up into second to put the most damage limitation together. And one spin did the job, ladies and gentlemen, and confirmed third position here today. Dylan De Bono's great driving means now he's very much in the championship fight in what is third position overall, but second position on today's first race should mean that this second race coming up means all the more important. It is more important to get that move done into turn number 1 at Yokohama. It is more important here with ESTV, the Esports Television Network, TVM Sport, with, of course, Motorsport .tv. It is so important that you get yourself in and watching the multinational GT3 Esports Championship for 2022, because mark my words, we're in for a really good battle in for this championship. And I tell you what, right now, this point, this time, fueled by Enemed, racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione, this second race might just have fireworks if the rear of the field didn't already find some amazing work in the opening exchanges outright. Of course, 10-second penalty for Kirsten Abeja, a 5-second penalty came in for Nigel Mifsud, and those penalties shuffled a little bit at the field and allowed some great drivers to jump up. Andrea Rizzo getting a 4th place finish is massive for the points haul there after starting today just 3 points behind Kirsten Abeja. That gap now, I believe, comes down to just 2 points in terms of their fight. So an extra point in the back pocket then to try and challenge forward. But every race is different. Every story has something different to be told. I'm sure that the drivers, when they get themselves that chance to race that second race, they know what they've got going forward. We're going to have, though, an opportunity to talk to some of the drivers after their opening stages. Justin Mifsud is down at the World Pro Racing Arena, and he's got a little look and understanding of how the drivers are feeling after the opening race. Justin.
Jake, from pizzas to racing to penalties, everything. But here we have 3 other trophies for the second round of the Malta National GT3 Esports Championship, fueled by Enemed. Thanks to all the supporters that we have on board for this championship and throughout these past 5 years. But let's go back to the second round. Everybody ate his pizza, I think. Probably everybody took a piece of a pizza, a slice of a pizza. We have Darren. How was the pizza? Not how was the race now, how was the pizza?
The best thing till now, till tonight.
As I said, pizza, races, it's all about fun. But when it comes to this serious moment, they stand still, nothing, you hear nothing. I went live on my page and you couldn't even hear a single sound from them unless somebody got hit, like happened in the first race. But let's continue before we start the race. We have another supporter here, which we had last week. What's his name?
Harley.
We have Harley here. How are you, Harley? Were you supporting your driver? Who's your driver? I think he said Dylan or Dylan. Am I right? Dylan or Dylan? Dylan or Dylan?
Dylan.
Dylan got his supporter here, along with his wife, girlfriend, future wife, hopefully. So, yes, as you can see, the atmosphere is quite amazing. We enjoy it, that's why we work so hard to make this enjoyable as much as possible, not just for the viewers, but also for the drivers and the dogs. Soon, I don't know how much time remaining, but a few minutes remaining for the last race, 4 minutes 30, thanks to Nathan Vella, who is broadcasting the broadcast today. So thank you to him that I can run around and make sure that everything is running fine. Also, Nicholas, who is the guy on the camera, he's doing some weight training throughout the week so he can resist those weights in the camera. Thank you to everyone, and there's Lon next to him as well, taking photos live and publishing them on our Facebook page. We're always changing our product to the better, of course, to the best that we can, to continue to be one of the best organizers in the world. Hopefully you are enjoying all this show, racing, fun, but most important that they learn from their mistakes and improving each and every one and every round until the final round, where we choose the overall winner to represent Malta in the FIA Motorsport Games. On to you, Jake.
Thank you. A couple of things you can take from that. One, I wonder if they deliver to the United Kingdom with that sort of pizza. I'm now very, very hungry after that, and I'm hungry for some great racing as well. They also say never work with animals, and I think Justin's just proven he's gone through every single bit of the book today in terms of what you don't work with, and he's done very, very well with it. I'm sure Dylan de Bono is going to have some good racing, some good opportunities, of course, with the support there with him. He will now look to try and just be a little bit more settled down, look to get into that second race, maybe try and be a little bit more aggressive with the way that everyone is trying to find their line, their length, their reason, their abilities on the brakes in that opening corner. We've talked about how so important that section of track is and always will be. The drivers have had that opportunity then to relax, decompose from that opening race, and now they'll know that second race will come along, and they've got to get back in the zone, back in the rhythm once again, and get themselves all nicely sorted out and prepared for racing action for what is the second race that they will be going through, the fourth race of their season. Of course, 6 rounds, 12 races, and Justin having a good wave at us then over with the cameras there. Adrian Fagaio as well with a solid wave on top of that as well, as the drivers will get situated in their seats. World Pro Racing Arena, a beautiful mix of a venue of the old and the new, and every element of amazing action is going to be finding itself then to the best. There is 1 and 2 from race number 1 right there. On the left, Dean Vella, who picked up the win by 3.5 seconds. On the right, Dylan de Bono, who will be trying to run as close as possible to Dean Vella, or maybe even take the position away. So they both sit pretty much ideal next to each other. Turn over and have a conversation or an argument, potentially, if they wanted to, in the middle of the race. And that's what makes sim racing so good. I always remember the Visa Vegas E-Prix and Graham Carroll's reaction after contact, the hand up in the air, what are you doing reaction. And everyone all had that bit of understanding of, okay, there is real emotion that can be tied and attributed to this. The drivers all getting themselves then ready. Some even trying to test the capabilities of how much steer they can put on the car. But when the headphones go on, they know that they are met with the noise of the machine and the BMWs that they have available to them. They'll be looking to try and drive to absolute limit. Giving up is something a Lauda doesn't do. Of course, the late Niki Lauda. Very, very poignant quote. All these drivers won't be giving up. And of course, with the penalties that were there as well, it was crucial that drivers like Kirsten Abeja and Nigel Mifsud were in a position where they didn't give up on what was a very, very important race. And so chaotic was it, and all sorts of amazing action that was there. I tell you what, there is no reason in these races to not give up any points, any places. Darryl Martinelli will even tell you that was a lap down in 9th place, and also try very hard to gain those points back and hope that someone else would run into damage troubles, which would force them to come down in, take a pit stop, take repairs, and get back out again. It didn't quite work for him, unfortunately. Still finished in 9th place, but you know, that's the way that racing goes. If you're in the wrong position early, you can be put towards the back, and it is going to be a long race from that point, but it's another 20 minutes. They've already done it once tonight. They've just got to go and do it again, and we are not very far away from racing resuming, and hopefully next time out as well at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, not this week coming, But a week after that, of course, on the 12th of August, I do believe it is, they will have a lot of work to be going through. Yes, Friday the 12th of August is there. Not designed to come second. I am designed to win. Ayrton Senna, legendary driver in his own right, 3-time champion. How many drivers here are not designed to finish in second position and are designed to win? Track's really dropped over the last hour or so in sim time, 5:20 p.m. And that is 21 degrees track temperature that they are dealing with right now. So they will have all of that to try and figure out as they run through down the hill. And the arena, pretty much everyone knows they are locked in and ready to go, ready to race on what is an important race here. The fourth one they got going through. It is going to be once again Dean Vella who will have control of the field. Dylan De Bono in second position. Sheldon Muscat in third. In fourth will be Nigel Mifsud. Fifth, Kirsten Abeja. In sixth position is Trajan Pavlovsky. Then you got Andrea Rizzo in seventh. Dylan Martinelli in eighth position. And Gianluigi Carrao, who so bravely jumped up through the order at the start of the opening race, is going to have to do it all over again. Back in ninth position. Again, no win to speak of here at the Nurburgring. A legendary track. The 180 plus corners of the beautiful green hell Nordschleife joins onto what is this incredible track, and the constant redesigns that have been going over the years to this section of road, which has become a bastion of racing over the numerous years. And it would be nice to go and see a German Grand Prix once again in the not too distant future, be it the Nürburgring, be it the Hockenheimring, and all sorts of that. For GT racing, Nürburgring is one of the great places for it, and on a national and a continental level, and to extents as well with the likes of VLN and the likes of the 24-hour race that goes here at the Nürburgring. Internationally, this is a crucially important track, and it has been a trendsetter and has been a really key place. Still, drivers look to measure themselves. Well, how fast did your car go around the Nürburgring? That is always a beautiful, beautiful prospect to have. But they line up too wide once again. Vella this time electing to take the inside line into the opening corner. And so it will be the long way around. Dylan De Bono is going to have to make this happen. So you're going to have to be a bit crafty off of this start. And you've got to try and find some spaces. So if you can make 20 minutes last, and if you can make it work, now is the time. Now is the place. They'll wait for the call. They'll wait for the green flag that they'll get over radio. Say they are off and racing. And they know they are stuck at a speed limit. They cannot go over that, but there is the green flag, and they're immediately up to pace and underway. The door shuts on Abeja immediately. De Bono again, great up through the gears. Is going to get a chance around the outside here to try and make the pass on Vella. Can he manage that? Andrea Rizzo in trouble on the inside as he tries to go through, and there's a spin on the inside on that as well. I believe it's Kirsten Abeja who has dropped all the way to the back. So Andrea Rizzo was stuck a little bit, pinched on the inside. Abeja's gone around and is now at the very back of the field. And ultimately, dramas off of the start. Sheldon Muscat there in third. Nigel Mifsud just behind him fourth. But a clean start for the front of the field at least. And Dean Vella once again has been able to break away from the early stages. Trajan Pavlovsky makes a good start. He's already up then into fifth position off of the early exchanges, so he's got what he wants. Martinelli in sixth, Carrao in seventh, Rizzo in eighth, and Abeja in ninth, having that spin. So a few drivers in trouble early, but the top six looking good once again. They hit the brakes and run into the Goodyear hairpin at this point in time. That carousel-esque inspired corner for one of the most famous corners in all of racing. And there is Andrea Rizzo with a lot of work to do to get back in this race. He's got to find a way past Gianluigi Carrao if he wants to move up from 8th to 7th and continue scoring on a rich vein of form. The good news he's got is that his closest rival in the championship, who is Kirsten Abeja, who he does want to beat, is one place behind. But Rizzo does have a 5-second time penalty from the initial incidents then through into turn number 1. So that is big for Andrea Rizzo's race. that he's got a penalty, and now we'll have a lot of work to do to get through. The commitment cone, the orange cone, the chartreuse cone in trouble then as it goes through that final section, but Dylan De Bono has to be very much alert to what's behind him, because Sheldon Muscat drove with everything and a bit more in the opening race. Does want to have to look behind, because Sheldon wants to make that move. He's not close enough this time in towards the opening section, so he's going to have to try and flick a way through. Isn't going to manage that at this point in time, but right now it's about staying within range. And don't tell me again that Dean Vella's going to just slowly increase that gap. Another double take through turn 2 at the AMG Arena, in at turn 3, the right of turn 4, and of course Germany as well. Such a rich and illustrious history of building great race cars, building fantastic race cars, from BMW to Audi, and of course the likes of Mercedes as well. Porsche you can add on top of that. There is Andrea Rizzo down in 8th position with the penalty to boot as well. So it's going to be a long road from here. Kirsten Abeja just behind is going to be in position now to jump up and take that. The gap's 1.6 seconds. So for Andrea Rizzo, effectively right down at the back of the pack at this point, hitting the brakes and in through the Goodyear curve right now, the lowest point on the circuit. Sheldon Muscat though still chasing down that battle for second with Dylan De Bono, who proved that resiliency was king in the opening race. And as we look through and drive and attack and try and see whether that move's going to come into play, a flick right up the hill. This is one of the best places to get a run. You can gain a 10th and a half or so on this climb, and it is a later braking zone here, just because of the way that the hill effectively works. You have gravity helping you slow down the car, and for Sheldon Muscat, he really was able to attack those two curves, but no more, no less, was unable to really do anything more than that at that point. But Dean Vella, your leader, and leading right now by about 1.7 seconds. A lunge to the outside, can't turn the car in. Sheldon Muscat has to wait on the outside, and some clever car placement there from Dylan De Bono. Knew that he could maybe save a little bit of time on that inside. The gap has extended out over 2 seconds though, so I think victory is out of the question at this point. But it's very much as you were earlier on. Before they fight, they might allow Nigel Mifsud into the battle in 4th position, so they'll have to be alert to it. Opening quarter of this race has been a feeling out process, a trying process so far. Where do I see Dylan De Bono strong or weak, and where does Sheldon Muscat find that position? That's been the game they've been trying to play. Conditions are slightly different. You can see Sheldon Muscat going very late on the brakes into the corner, trying to diamond off that exit. Wasn't going to get that move, but every book, every tool in the Sim Racer's book, the Sim Racer's hand guide of how to make an overtake, always goes in. Try and brake a little bit later. Scare your opponent in the mirror. There's Daryl Martinelli. He has got to try and find himself a pass. He's got to try and get past Gianluigi Carrao, who is up into 6th position right now. He would love this pass, and there is a face of concentration, if ever I saw one, on Daryl Martinelli. He takes a very shallow line through Ravenel and into Bilstein corner, looking to attack off of the exit and give everything and a bit more up this hill. We have seen this place be potential for overtaking, but the question is, are you going to get alongside? How late on the brakes can you risk it? 6 looks to try and get in the mirror, but nothing more than that. Very heavy over the curb, but Dylan De Bono has lost the place and is going to have to fight it back here at the opening corner as they go through to Yokohama. Sheldon Muscat has procured the position away through at the final sections of track, and there's troubles for Gianluigi Carrao, who has a half moment coming out to the final corner, has dropped way back now to dead last, and they are 3 wide just in front. They were for a moment, so Abeja has worked away past both Rizzo and Martinelli, and Martinelli on the wrong side of Rizzo. Rizzo into 7th, but on the road is still in 9th position. So at least with the penalty, the 5 seconds, which will only be served away whether Andrea Rizzo comes in for a pit stop or not. If not, it is served after the race. Andrea Rizzo finds himself 7th and on track 9th at this point, with Martinelli just playing the long game at this point. And speaking of, Martinelli has 5 seconds of his own to play with. So troubles for Martinelli will be effectively on track racing then with Andrea Arezzo for position. There is no time gap discrepancy between them. Dylan De Bono is still trying to find a pass out there on track, but there goes Martinelli down the inside. Can he get it turned off of the exit? Arezzo gives just enough room as they drive through. Martinelli has done very well and tries to shut the door. Moving up into the Schumacher S, turns himself on the front nose and makes contact on the rejoin there with the driver in 8th position in Gianluigi Carrao. So dramas then for Martinelli, getting it all shades and mixed up. And that might be 4 races in a row now where it's not gone correctly for him in this one. And Sheldon Muscat, by the way, has just lost the place to Dylan De Bono. So De Bono back up into 2nd, and they really are losing time. The difference in their lap times are almost 2 seconds a lap now, slower than Dean Vella, who leads this race outright. And that's just because they're fighting so hard for every position. Muscat gets as close as possible through turn 1, Yokohama corner. Not going to be able to move by there, and is going to have to be a little bit more cautious with the way this race goes. So, right now at least, 5 seconds at the front for your race leader, Dean Vella, as we head towards the halfway stage. Into the pits comes Gianluigi Carrao. So that will have to be a pit stop, an unplanned pit stop with the damage accrued after contact with Martinelli. So that's drama filled. Sheldon Muscat all over the back, taking this lisking left. It turns slightly before they go, and there is Kirsten Beha in 6th position right now. On his own, about 7.5 seconds back of Pavlovsky in 5th, and Muscat all over the place in the gravel, and that difference in grip really not helping. And is that another case for Sheldon Muscat, that it's going to be back-to-back 3rd places, and he's going to drop further ground? It will go to 23 points, potentially 24, depending on driver of the day status. So Dean Vella, flying clear at this point, knows that he is going to be almost a full race distance, or a full points race distance clear, if things work out in favour of him right now. Moving through on the brakes into the right to the Hyundai N-curve to finish the lap, and Martinelli gets another 5 seconds tacked on. It's a 10-second penalty that he will have at the end of this race. So Martinelli in a world of hurt, and going a lap down is Gianluigi Carrao in 9th position. So that definitely not part of the plan either here with what is going through. But Vella leads, De Bono in 2nd, Muscat 3rd, Mifsud in 4th, and Pavlovsky currently rounds out your top 5 here in this 2nd race tonight here at the Nurburgring. 2 weeks from today, the 3rd round of the championship will take its hold at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, one of the great all-round venues for any type of racing, and it is going to be a really important challenge there. On top of that, we do have a championship coming, or news of a championship coming up towards Assetto Corsa Competizione. That will be announced sometime next week, so make sure you keep your eyes on that. But Sheldon Muscat in 3rd knows that that gap is extending in the championship to one Mr. Dean Vella. And there he finds himself at this point in time, flying about the 5.1 second lead at this point. There, back on circuit, is Gianluigi Carrao, but all to the expense a lap down at this point. And there's a look, a quiet look at the World Pro Racing Arena. Everyone dialed in, concentrating on their race they've got in front of them, the last 8 minutes and 50 seconds of today's action, and what has been some incredible work in this 2nd round overall. Of course, but it comes down to Trajan Pavlovsky, first start of his race today. Yes, the front 4 have broken clear of him, but he won't mind that they're 13 seconds down the road. He's doing his job fantastically. A gap of 6 seconds to Kirsten Beha in 6th position is not the worst feeling in the world to be having right now. This is a solid haul of points to take away from your opening race. Andrea Rizzo as well with the 5-second penalty is very much consolidated, at least at this point in time, in 7th position overall, because behind him is Martinelli, who is got an extra 5 seconds on top of what Andrea Rizzo has at this point. And yes, the joke is he's a sim racing driver who doesn't have a sim at home, but that doesn't matter. Sim racers adapt and improvise and find themselves the way to get those times sorted, and if it means going to the World Pro Racing Arena all the time, they'll be happy with their service and the work that is sorted. So Andrea Rizzo on the brakes into the opening corner. You see how it drops down the hill? It's only now when you put the power down that you climb back up it into the AMG Arena, turns 2, 3 and 4 on this very difficult track. Take a little look on board then going through turn 3. You're always trying to open up turn 4 as much as possible. Keep the power down. Don't run too far over that curb on the left-hand side. And then you're running through what is the Goodyear Straight over towards the left 5 and 6, the Mullenbacher Schleif of track out there. Of course, for running in the VLN, they don't take the entirety of the bottom of the circuit. They take the small right known as the Kazambingdang, which allows them to go forward. The track dropping another degree, by the way, to just 20 degrees overall. So time really is starting to tell with a track that is going cold, ladies and gentlemen, here around the Nurburgring. Over the curbs through the Schumacher S, legendary driver, the 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher. And of course, all wishes with him at this point in time, still trying to recover from earlier accidents in his life. So hopefully he has get well soon and keep fighting on top of it. But someone who is fighting absolutely wonderfully is Dean Vella, as he leads this race by a comfortable margin of nearly 6 seconds. See him right now, almost at risk of drifting off at this point, the way that his concentration looks at this point in time. Is in the zone, happy and satisfied with the way that he's driving, hitting every apex perfectly. His consistency value will always be one of the strongest there. And there is Nigel Mifsud in 4th position right now. What a good drive it has been this week from him. Certainly had the pace. Yes, the 10-second penalty didn't really help things for him. But when he's got some clean air, he's proven today he's got pace very comparable to those at the front of the field. And number 82 definitely has a chance today and has a chance later on to potentially take some podiums. Might even sneak a race victory. Different car, different track. More time to get the practice in for Spa coming up. I'd say he's doing a good job. And we are soon ticking down to the final 5 minutes then of this race. Gaps really have spread out then in this field, and it has been worth noting where those times are. You keep in mind Andrea Rizzo, who is 7th on the road right now, has a 5-second time penalty, but the good news is the rival behind who could gain that time has a 10-second time penalty. So Andrea Rizzo up 5 seconds in terms of him in this race. Kirsten Abe has 6th, Trajan Pavlovsky in 5th, and in 4th, Mifsud there, Nigel Mifsud. There is Kirsten Abe in 6th position. You can see the damage to the front there. The bonnet's trying to fly off. It's oscillating a little bit under the bumps and the heavy grunt of the engine that they have here in this BMW M4. So there is certainly still a whole lot that could potentially befall Kirsten Abe, who said he was struggling today. Overdrove it in qualifying, but I'd say he's done all right with the damage that he's got. He's not a million miles off of Pavlovsky. He is slowly closing that gap down. It's to 3.5 seconds, and a 59.5 from Pavlovsky to 58.3 from Kirsten Abeja. So that gap could come down to nothing by the end of the race, because we've got 3 laps to go, and at this rate he is catching. So he's got the carrot on the stick in front of him. He will have to try and chase that down, and he's got the pace, it seems, at the moment, does Kirsten, to make that a reality. From the bonnet then, you can see just how much it's flexing up and down. Moves through the AMG Arena. Through turn 3. And the right 90 degrees, feels like more, of turn number 4. out on track. It must be getting very late for these drivers as well. It is coming up in Maltese time to, I believe, 20 to 11 in the evening. So this is a late one for them as they go and challenge. Sheldon Muscat on the brakes, blinking through Ravenel and into Bilstein. Drops down the hill. Doesn't camber though, which makes it difficult because you have to wait. You think you've got a little bit more grip there, but you don't. You have to wait for the mechanical grip and the aerodynamic grip to balance in matrimony as you go through that section. And for Sheldon Muscat, he will understand that today might not have been his day. Top 3, of course, from last week at Watkins Glen. They're going to be the top 3 again, but in a slightly different order. So looks like the silverware is very much with them at the moment. And Dean Vella has 2 laps to go for the first double. And it looks like someone's been very aggressive at turn 1 because the pylon that is there to indicate do not cut me, turn number 1, has been effectively taken off at that section of track. So someone's been very greedy down at turn 1. And they'll have a lot of work to do to get that back. And there is no virtual marshal here in a Six Course Competizione who can bring that back off of circuit, but it is off the racing line. And Dean Vella with the red helmet in sim, driving as if this is exactly what I'm expecting. Eyes glancing on, maybe even trying to keep himself occupied at this point in time. A little shake of the head there, running through in towards the Goodyear hairpin out on track. So it is a case of drivers, sometimes when they've got a big gap and the racing isn't, or feels like a hot lap, can be a little bit troublesome out there for certain drivers. But I'm sure at least at this point in time, Dean Vella's proving that he's got a good race under him right now. He'll be trying to do the same. I am curious to see whether that gap has come down between Abeja and Pavlovsky to fight for 5th and 6th positions. Right now, there is Trajan Pavlovsky in 5th position. You should see coming into shot maybe at the bottom of the corner. Yeah, just there in the bottom left corner. And now you can see behind, there is Kirsten Abeja. But that gap doesn't look like it's closed nearly as much as it's needed to if this were to be competitive on the final lap. There is still that pressure, but I believe Trajan Pavlovsky has responded to Kirsten Abeja's times. It's 2.3 seconds, the margin between these two at this point in time. And with a lap to go, which Vella has just taken that final lap then to start, I'd say this isn't over for Trajan Pavlovsky at this point. It may not be over either for Sheldon Muscat. He's still down by about 3 seconds, but there is a chance if Dylan De Bono makes a mistake that Sheldon Muscat can find a way to get back into range. It was a much quicker lap last time from Dylan, and it was enough to hold off the margin at that point. But Sheldon's got to give everything on this last lap of the race, and Dylan can't afford a mistake. And I'm sure with Harley there and his girlfriend also watching, there should be a little extra emphasis on going through. Abeja looking pretty close, but not close enough to make the move into turn 1. Down at the bottom of the circuit then is Dean Vella, and he will now have a look and an understanding with the gaps behind. We'll see them and hear them as he drives past 4th position at the moment, Nigel Mifsud. And he'll just run himself up the hill then to Ravenel and Bilstein. 90-degree lefts and rights have been very good, have been very strong. And once again, on natural pace, Dean Vella is proving that he is head and shoulders above everybody else in this field, that he is becoming a very difficult character to try and stop. The rule is very simple. You've got to get him at turn 1, otherwise he's going to run away. And it doesn't matter what machinery it is. There's Sheldon Muscat. He's not going to be close enough to get to 2nd position. So Dean Vella will leave today with at least 23 points of a championship lead. He'll come to the line at the double at the Nurburgring. He wins at a canter as he goes through. Dylan De Bono will come home to 2nd position and will just finish ahead of Sheldon Muscat in 3rd. It's a great drive for Nigel Mifsud, who will take 4th position. The, I would say, fireworks are going and the spray is all there. It's they go through. Nigel Misser with a great drive, and Pavlovsky, I believe, is going to hold it, barring an incident at this final chicane. It's a very bumpy last chicane, and maybe that final corner. It is going to be close here. Abeja's going to try and send it from very deep in, but he can't get to the inside quick enough, and just holding on to that gap then, it is going to be Pavlovsky staving off Abeja's charge. Just one more lap, and Kirsten Abeja would have been there, good enough to take that. But there is Dean Vella, who has got himself back-to-back victories, and every reason to be excited. Andrea Rizzo will take 7th ahead of Martinelli in 8th position. Of course, the 5 and 10 second time penalties are not going to change anything, and especially with Gianluigi Carrao back by a good lap, that then is going to be everyone across the line. Dean Vella at the double. You got every reason to be excited. Make sure to brush the hair in the right direction. But when you take 2 victories like that, and you take a commanding 20-plus lead in the championship, 20-plus points overall, what a magnificent drive it has been all season long for him. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that sort of dominance is going to be something that you need more than a week to try and stop. And fortunately for the drivers who are chasing, it is going to be Spa-Francorchamps, which is going to be the next round of the championship on Friday, August the 12th. Again, starting at 8 p.m. Central European time. So make sure that you get yourself in on that, and going through some incredible work that's gone in behind the scenes. But there are as well a number of drivers who have got themselves some great results. And we're going to get an opportunity then to go and talk to them in the not too distant future. But tying up the shoelaces, then getting things sorted is going to be a one Mr. Dean Vella. Confirmation of 3rd place then is Sheldon Muscat, 30 points out of then today, with 2nd position overall should be Dylan De Bono, who could not beat the driver to the left. Of course, 41 points for Dylan, which makes me believe that he has managed to pick up driver of the day, which is a bonus point for him, and a crucial bonus point in terms of the championship. And Dean Vella then will have 51 points and will take a 22-point lead in the or a 23-point lead in the championship. Dylan De Bono will close up a little bit more to Sheldon Muscat. That gap will come down to just 4 points, as Dylan is confirmed as driver of the day. There is Sheldon Muscat, 3rd position. He'll probably have to analyse those 2 mistakes, both in race 1 and race 2, in terms of where it went wrong. Come back to the Nurburgring, get a bit more practice, and then tackle Spa 2 weeks from today. It was a good drive from him, but at least at this point in time, he knows that there were points on the table. He had pace today in order to challenge Dean Vella, but it did not materialise, and sometimes that's the way that racing goes. It doesn't always go the way you want it to, and it is always an endless craft to move up and to stay at the top. Getting to the top of the mountain is always about the journey, and getting up there, staying there, is a much different prospect entirely in terms of how everyone looks to battle. And of course, from the work that's been done, of course, from the stewarding team of Adrian Fagayo and George Muscat, who's been there, all of the camera providers who have been keeping themselves busy, Justin, who's been down there on interviews, making sure everything's been working hunky-dory, and then, of course, to where we have been out there today on the multinational GT3 Esports Championship 2022, fueled by Enemed, racing on a set of Corsa Competizione with TVM Sport, Motorsport.tv, ESTV, the Esports Television Network. Yes, the Esports Television Network. On top of that, we have had ourselves then some wonderful opportunities, of course, with the Malta Motorsport Federation, Esports recognised there. And on top of that, Gaming Malta also jumping in, and all of those partners down there on the bottom of your screen. But we shouldn't be too far away from podium presentations. Drivers very happy with the results that they've had, getting themselves a little bit of sustenance as they went through and secured the results that they wanted, or maybe the results they didn't want, and they have to juggle back at a track which next time out in 2 weeks going to have itself a whole lot of differences of philosophy. High speed in the opening sector, technical in the middle sector, and then that flowing final sector as they run through. They're going to be dealing with a lot out there in terms of how do you go out and be aggressive. And the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in the Belgian Ardennes forest, just a stone's throw away from Liège, and one of the last towns on port before in the famous cycling race Liège-Bastogne-Liège. One of the last ports of call is the small town of Francorchamps. But there are your trophies, ladies and gentlemen, and those are the rewards awaiting the top 3 overall, of course, of Sheldon Muscat, of Dean Vella, and Dylan De Bono. Not necessarily in that order, but they will all get a little glimpse of what is there to come, what is there moving forward. And I think what makes this national championship very important is the fact they do have those trophies that they can hold for a long time and say, I managed this at this race at this point in time. A lot of sim racing doesn't have trophies. A lot of sim racing is just the accolade, it's just the pride of taking a victory, or second or third, or a top 5 or a top 10. But here, I do love the fact they do have a trophy to hold up. They do have that ability to say that they do have the victory in their back pocket, and they do have that chance to take a wonderful trophy home with them and say, I did it. I got this. I got a wonderful victory out there overall. So they do have that in terms of achievement that they can highlight and put together. And of course, what they are racing for and what they're racing towards is trying to move up to the very, very top that they can. And the top, when it comes to this, is the run to France, the run to the FIA Motorsport Games. And it should be an incredible achievement for all of these drivers to know and understand that they are going to be representing their nation. They are going to be representing Malta. And with that availability and opportunity to move on to the very, very top stage, to go as quick as possible, to understand what makes great racing happen, they've got to race against the best. And that is where the best are going to be joining from Assetto Corsa Competizione. So if the best can find themselves in, the best can find their way up then to France in the end of the day. I believe it's to Marseille, I'm not too sure. But it should be an incredible battle. Who firstly A, makes it, and B, what their progress is like and how they manage their event once they are, of course, in Motorsport Games overall. But just still waiting confirmation of herding some drivers together to get ourselves some presentation coverage then from the top 3 overall in the standings. Got Justin, who will be stood by with interviews as well once everyone is then up on the podium and their trophies are presented to them overall as well. We are very hopeful and fortunate that we're going to get that, of course, in the not too distant future. But as well as Spa, of course, there'll be a long break after the 12th of August, a good, I would say, summer break over to the 2nd of September for round 4 at Brands Hatch. After Brands Hatch, it will be a 1 week jaunt over to Paul Ricard in France for the 5th round, and then the final round, just a 5-day turnover for Mount Panorama Bathurst over on the 14th of September. So it will be a much different challenge to finish out 4 tracks then in Europe. The opener, of course, at Watkins Glen was American, and then an Australian track to finish off the season. I have a couple of friends actually who live in this town of Bathurst, city of Bathurst, in Bathurst, and it is wonderful that we race on the public roads to finish off the championship. And what an incredible championship it will have been by that point. But someone's got to find a way to stop Dean Vella before that section in time. Remember as well, it's 25 points for a race victory, and that race victory could be so very, very important to everyone as they go forward. And just having that in the back pocket, a race victory of a margin, that could be huge for Dean Vella and his championship efforts if he wants to wrap this up a little bit quicker. But still awaiting word on when we can get ourselves over to presentation. Hopefully we'll get there in the not too distant future, and we should be looking, I believe, in the next couple of moments to take ourselves over there and get all of the festivities underway for what could be some incredible celebrating come the end. They know that the job's not fully done, but it is always important to crown achievements and support those achievements that are already done race by race basis, or as has been done today, the 2 races that everyone has had here overall. We're going to jump down though over to the World Pro Racing Arena, because Justin is down there and he has got some drivers ready and lined up, and some trophies ready and lined up that we saw just a few minutes ago. But hopefully we'll see that in just about a minute's time. But I have to say, it has been a wonderful crowning achievement to see the racing. Very hectic in race 1, very spaced out in race 2. But the natural pace, I think, in race 2 really showed itself. And it's that pace of race 2 mixed with the nervous anticipation of race 1, which I think made today's racing really strong. We had some really good competition. Drivers remained close, especially in the fight for second. The fight for 5th and 6th closed right down towards the end as well. But same story for both races, a runaway winner. And that can be a little frustrating for certain drivers. But here are drivers who are looking very happy. And there is a certain Mr. Sheldon Muscat with a shake of the hand, with a trophy. He finds himself in 3rd place. So there he is, happy with his 3rd position overall, and with a smile there is Dylan De Bono in for 2nd position, his trophy, and all smiles. And as they find themselves up, a little move over, he's very happy with that result. And well, why wouldn't he at that point, getting 2nd? And we turn the camera around, because there is one driver waiting, back-to-back victories, and with that victory overall, Dean Vella moving ever further clear at the top. And he'll be getting used to this in a little bit, in 2 weeks, you'd feel. 2 races here, 2 victories, 2 times stood up on top. Got every reason to smile, every reason to be happy. Your top 3, unironically, they're in height order as well as they go through. So they all got themselves an ability to celebrate and be happy with the results that they have managed. But Justin, I believe, is down there, and he's got these drivers in the happiest possible position that they have at this point in time as they hold their trophies aloft.
As you can see, here we have the podium for the 2nd round of the Malta National GT3 Esports Championship, fueled by Enemed. We start from the 3rd position with Sheldon. You're going down, not going up. Don't worry, there's the 3rd round. The whole event today, practice, quali, disconnection, network cable. Your experience today?
Yeah, I had a lot of mishaps in the beginning. Then in qualifying, I just messed up the chicane and went off. I had pole in the back, but yeah, mistakes. Then race 1, I made another mistake, which cost me P2 again. And race 2, again, another mistake, which cost me P2. But yeah, what can you do? We'll go forward from now on.
It's all about mistakes, fixing those mistakes, and then you continue doing your best in the next rounds. 2nd position, Dylan. You're improving, Dylan. The 1st national championship for you. The 2nd podium for you. Tell us today your experience so far. Not just about the whole experience, it's about the driving, what happened in practice, the quali, the pizza time, and the races.
Basically, I just practice. I did sort of race simulation just to get comfortable with the setup. And then basically qualifying, I just put a good lap. Obviously, I could improve, but I couldn't catch perform the perfect lap, but at least I came second. And in the races, obviously, I was fighting constantly with Sheldon. But at least I'm happy because us three were keeping the same pace, and it was fun. In the last race, obviously, we had some battle, which for myself I was enjoying. I was enjoying myself a lot, and obviously it was clean racing.
You've got an extra point today, driver of the day. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm trying my best to improve. Obviously, you need time, practice, but actually, I think we can get there.
And it's not just about yourself, it's about also those who are around you supporting you, including your girlfriend. She's watching somewhere here, which is important because in esports it's not just playing and staying at home, anti-socializing and doing nothing, getting nothing out of it. Okay, food for thought. It's about everything in the contrary of what I said. Socializing, having fun, being supported, winning, achieving something, and having fun. And now you, Dean Vella, P1, pole position, so you've got another point for the pole position throughout the whole event today. Your experience, and maybe you found something that you could have improved better, or what's coming next maybe in the next races, focusing on something else?
More pace, definitely, because I do know that I have more pace in me, so if I can try to get that pace on track next time, I should have a better gap and a safer race. But yeah, it was quite smooth, nothing really to complain about. There's a couple of mistakes I can avoid when I'm just trying to lap by myself, but I think it's a good platform to work on for next round.
Well done to everybody, not just the podium winners, but everybody who was competing, not just about the drivers, but everybody behind the scenes. Nicholas was on the camera, showing myself and the drivers. Lon, who is next to him, taking photos live on screen on our social media. George and Adrian, race director and stewards, Nathan Vella in the broadcast, and of course, all our sponsors. Thank you everybody, Enemed, Gaming Malta, AMD, HyperX, GT Omega Racing, GP Racing Cars, who are offering these drivers a race in our karting track at La Rev, and also England Insurance. Thank you everybody. Thank you all our broadcasting partners, TVM Sport, ESTV, Motorsport.tv, Rotta as well, who are doing some promos as well throughout the weeks for our events. Thank you everybody, of course, Jake as well. But that's from my side here from the facility. On to you, Jake.
Thank you, Justin. And it is going to be a 1 week break, but 1 week off after that. We'll be heading to the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. The 12th of August is the time and place. Friday, same time. Make sure that you jump yourself into that. But from everyone who's got it here done, it has been Dean Vella, head and shoulders. No doubts about it. 2 wins out of 2 here tonight. 3 wins out of 4 so far this season. He is a runaway train. How does he get stopped? We'll see you 2 weeks from today, and we will see you at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Good night.
Okay, we proceed to the start.